20 seconds at f11. Not bad. So I came over here to the east side of the park this morning, this being the morning of day 2. There's a lot of interest around here, lots of foliage on the ground, like little green, sort of mossy bits of, well, I don't know what it is, but it's green and covers the black volcanic rock, which offers some nice colour contrast. I haven't really been held up by anyone today with regard to, permission, access, all that sort of stuff to do with photography around here. At the end of the day, I'm just a guy with a camera. I'm a tourist. So after that shot that I took, my plan is to wander around into the end of this trail. It kind of goes around another crater that's nearby to here, and sort of see if there's anything that might be of interest over there. I did also this morning go on a pre-dawn hike around the crater. That one over my shoulder there, just to sort of check out the lay of the land, see if there would be anything worthy of shooting at sunset. But I couldn't really tell. It was too dark, so I hiked over here to this other trail. From here you've got some incredible views of just rolling black desert, really, with again with the kind of green, prehistoric looking plant life kind of just covering the ground. It really is quite a striking scene. There was quite a lot of cloud this morning, so it wasn't much of a sunrise, but it did offer kind of a nice balanced exposure. Not the most vibrant colour, but it'll be quite a nice moody shot perhaps. And I've got plenty of time to return here, so now it's just time to scout around and see what else I can find. Well, a slight change of plan. As I was walking ahead to the crater there, the light behind me kind of exploded all of a sudden, so I quickly grabbed a image with the vegetation there nicely lit up by the sun rising over the hills. Clearly I was a little bit too premature on calling it an uneventful sunrise. It's just really hard to tell with the amount of clouds out here what's going to happen. They really do roll through very, very quickly. So, lesson learned, I need to be a little bit more vigilant. Now to do some more exploration. So as the sun rises here in the crater, it's hitting the sides of the crater and creating a nice wall of reflected light, which is going to light up this rock garden here at the bottom of the crater quite nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and frame up a composition. I'll also kind of try and keep an eye on how the light moves as it rises over the edge of the crater, you know, what sides of the crater it hits and whereabouts it's going to give off a nice glow. But at the moment there is a nice soft warm light hitting the rock garden here, so I'm going to go ahead, find a composition and frame it up. Well, as soon as I set up a composition here, some clouds started to roll over, and I'm just really not sure about the way that the light's going to bounce around inside the crater here. I think the thing to do for now is pack up, head home, and consider what I'm going to do for the evening. I've had quite a successful outing this morning for a location I've never visited before, so yeah, it's time to head back and make some plans for later this evening. But yeah, the light's changing constantly in here. It's really changeable, and with so many clouds in the sky it doesn't really work well for reflected light. Back at the car here now, and about to make my way back to Playa Blanca. It's been quite a successful morning, a lot of new ground covered, although I did kind of have the feeling as I was running around looking at the way the light was changing that, you know, I was too concentrated on chasing the light rather than taking good photos or finding good subjects. I think I need to put a bit more time and effort into not necessarily photo shoots, but kind of just scouting the area, finding out what's out there, you know, planning a composition ahead of time and then going in and like executing it after the fact. So maybe if it means, you know, I come into these places without my camera, without all my gear, because it is a lot to carry. It's really quite a lot of equipment, and you know, it's hot out here. So maybe just head into the area with like a stripped down kit, just do a bit more of a scouting trip into these areas first, find the shots ahead of time, and then go in having planned everything. That might be a better use of my time here. But for now, back to civilization and back to the shop to get some food. I'm hungry and thirsty. So I've come back to the west side of the park now, and I'm here at the coast again, and I found another coastal composition, slightly similar to the one from last night, but much higher perspective and probably a longer focal length, which should compress the scene to give it a bigger sense of scale. Again, it's kind of like middle of the day now, so I'm going to wait for the sun to set and I'll keep you updated. In terms of composition here, this really couldn't get any simpler. I'm simply framing this outcropping, leaving out the horizon line as that would be quite the distraction. I'm simply focusing in on this piece of land, the leading line coming in from the lower left there, and also incorporating the small rock outcropping just to the right hand side of the archway there. I'm quite hopeful for this one, so let's see how it turns out. Now I just gotta wait for some light. One of the main challenges of photographing a scene like this is catching the perfect wave. What I mean by that is not getting out my surfboard, but actually timing my shutter so that I get a nice wave that works well for the composition. What I'm looking for here is a wave that mirrors the leading line of the cliffs on the left hand side to create a kind of a convergence, but I'm also trying to avoid having that wave obscuring the details that I've placed in my composition, certain parts of the rock formations that I quite like. What I tend to find is that it's best to use the cable release here and avoid looking through the shutter. Just step back from the camera, watch the motion of the waves as they come in, and try and predict where they're going to go and time it just right. Fingers crossed, it's going to work out.